kids. Welcome to a presentation on adding and subtracting with negative numbers. And what I did was I went ahead and came up with, found on the interwebs in the math sections about the rules for adding and subtracting positives and negative numbers. And I've got a number line here so that we can work through some problems to show you. So if we follow these rules, this is going to really help us with our algebra when it comes to balancing our equations. So the first one is when adding positive numbers count to the right. So let me give you an example of that. So 3 plus 4, 3 is here. Add 4 to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We get 7. All right, so that is rule number 1 when it comes to positive numbers there. 3 plus 4 equals 7, but it's not just for that, because let's say we started at -1 and we added a positive to it. -1 and we added a positive to it. Well, let's add 6. We're going to move to the right, this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there. So that's going to give us a positive 5. So even though we were on this side of the number line, when we added a positive number to it, we went to the right. I could be even here at -8 and add 2 to it. Well, if I'm adding a positive number to any number, I move to the right. So what do I got here? -8, I'm going to add 2 to it. I'm going to move to the right. 1, 2. That gives me -6. Even though my answer is a negative, I still followed the rules. I added a positive number to it, but I moved to the right. So that's why rule number 1 here is great. Anytime you add a positive number to anything, you move to the right on your trusty number line. Okay, so that's rule number 1, illustrated. Let's go with rule number 2 here. When adding negative numbers, count to the left. Okay, so let's say I'm at 3 and I'm adding -4. Okay, well, it says when adding negative numbers, count to the left. Well, the left is this way. It's a negative number. I'm adding a negative number here to this number. So I'm going to go this direction, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get to -1. So 3 plus -1 or plus -4 equals -1. So I followed the rule. When you added a negative number, I counted to the left here. Okay, that's going to work anywhere I'm at on the number line. Let's do -5 plus -2. Here, well, let me erase this real quick. -5 plus -2. Well, here we're at -5. When adding negative numbers, count to the left. That means I've got to go this way if I'm adding a negative. So go 1, 2. There you have it, -7. So -5, adding a negative to it, -2 is going to make me count to the left, and that gives me -7. So that is a really fun example there. That is rule number 2. And I could even do it here with 0. 0 plus, that's a terrible 0. 0 plus -3. Well, got to move to the left. 1, 2 is -3. Okay. All right. Even if I'm really far on this side of the number line, this is going to work. Adding negative numbers, count to the left. 7 plus -2. Well, I'm adding a negative number, and the rule says when adding negative numbers, count to the left. It's that direction. 1, 2. Lo and behold, that equals 5. So 7 plus -2 gives me 5. Awesome. All right. So let's move to rule number 3, subtraction here. Okay, when subtracting positive numbers, count to the left. so we're going to go this way. So 7 minus 5. We're here at 7, and we're subtracting a positive number. And we're going to count to the left, go this direction. So I'm going to go back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to give me 2. So when subtracting a positive number, count to the left. That works. Okay, subtracting a positive, count to the left. Well, what if we're at 2 minus 8? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, 2 minus 8. Dear Lord, what are we going to do here? We're here at 2, but it says when subtracting positive numbers, count to the left. Well, 2 minus 8, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gets me a negative 6. So another trick you can do here when you subtract positive numbers and counting to the left, what you can do, 2 minus 8 is exactly the same way, exactly the same as saying 2 plus negative 8. And when adding negative numbers, count to the left. So you could turn this problem into an addition problem. 2 plus negative 8 equals negative 6, because you're still going in the same direction. That's a little trick that you can do. But still, 2 minus 8 is going to give you negative 6. What happens if I have negative 1 minus 7? Well, I'm at negative 1 here, and when subtracting positive numbers, count to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That takes me to negative 8, but this is the same thing as saying negative 1 plus negative 7, and when I add negative numbers, I count to the left as well. So even if I transform it into an addition problem, I am still going left, 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 left on my number line here. Let's do a couple more in this one. Subtraction is always a little more tricky than addition because it just is. Coming from a non-math specialist who had to learn this back in the day. All right, let's do 2 minus 8. Okay, 2 minus 8. When subtracting positive numbers, count to the left. Here's 2. Take away 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gets me negative 6. Same thing as saying 2 plus negative 8 and 2 plus. When adding negative numbers, count to the left. Whoa, same thing. Always move that direction when you are adding a negative number. All right, so that's rule number 3. It's kind of cool here. If you look at the rules and the pattern that's forming here, we've got 2 and 3. When adding a negative numbers, count to the left. When subtracting positive numbers, count to the left. And now rule number 4 is going to be a count to the right situation, just like number 1. All right, so let's do 1. No, let's start a little different. Let's do 5 minus negative 4. Okay, so 5 minus negative 4. This is where things get tricky. This last one is really tricky. So 5 minus negative 4 says count to the right. When subtracting negative numbers, count to the right, which means we're supposed to go this direction. 5 minus negative 4. 5, if I go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, gives me a positive 9. Now, what's the trick here? What magic is this? Well, 5 minus a negative 4 is the same as 5 plus 4. And I think a trick that some teachers use is, you see 5 minus negative 4 here, they take this one here and they turn it so that it looks like, so they're going to flip it so that it looks like that, and then they're going to take it and they're going to put it on that one like that, and then you have 5 plus 4, and that equals 9. So that is when subtracting negative numbers count to the right. So whenever you see this sort of situation, subtracting a negative, that is the same as adding a positive, okay? If you follow the rule, when subtracting a negative number, count to the right. You will not be fooled, okay? Let's do a few more of this one. All right, so let's do negative 7 minus negative 8. All right, the rule says when subtracting negative numbers, count to the right. We are indeed subtracting negative numbers. I see the two negatives. I'm going to be from negative 7, count to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry about that. It gets us to 1. Why? Because negative 7 minus negative 8 is the same as negative 7 plus 8. And when adding positive numbers, count to the right. We transformed a subtracting negative numbers counting to the right. We get the same exact movement there. Okay, let's do another example here. If you guys follow the rules, you should be fine. So these rules can be found anywhere. These are the basic rules of adding and subtracting with negative numbers. Let's do negative 10 minus negative 6. All right, well, when subtracting negative numbers, go to the right. Okay, that means I'm at negative 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a negative 4. Good. Why? Because this is the same as negative 10 plus 6. When adding positive numbers count to the right, it's the exact same thing. So there you have it, kids. A very simple, short video, maybe giving you guys a little help with negative numbers. Can give you guys some follow-up work. Really, you can find these rules anywhere. I highly recommend you find them, you print them out, you memorize them, because this is your key to doing the kind of work that we do in algebra.